Thank you for coming back. Thank you for watching. Once again, we have a slam pack episode for you. And you're here on the Who Asked Y'all 2 podcast. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, enjoy the video.
Can't help itself, man.
Bro,
Yo,
you
welcome back.
started it.
Welcome back. Welcome back to
Cut
another
that out.
episode of the Who Asked Y'all 2 podcast. Not editing nothing out.
Wow.
It's your boys back. Me, as always, Chris Porter here with my brother and co-host M. Dot, man. Do you want to tell the people what you were saying before we hit record?
What was
You
I
want
saying?
you want to give them a little bit of what you were just doing?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So,
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about the noise.
oh, no. They don't need to know about any of that. They don't need to know about any of that.
Nah. What's going on, bro? Let the people know how you feeling, man.
I'm doing great. You know, God is good, man. I'm actually on a fast right now. I'm fasting.
Nice.
I think it's like day 7 today. So my fast consists of trying to do at least 13, anywhere from 13 hours. So tomorrow I'm gonna try to do a 24-hour fast. You know, anywhere between that. And the goal for me is just to build a relationship with Christ, have a better mental state, and have a better health. So I'm on day 7, and I try to do it like this. I wake up, I don't eat nothing, I pray, get to work, do my job, and then before I break my fast, I pray. And then when I break my fast, at the end of the night, I read a passage in the Bible, and that kind of centers me, and I learn more, and I'm getting better back at like understanding the Bible and seeing how it applies to my life and building a better relationship with Christ. So that's what I've been doing for the past 7 days.
How's it been going so far?
It's been going all right. There's been challenges, brother. Like I will say, I respect individuals that practice Islam and go through Ramadan, because from sunup to sundown is a different beast. I don't know if I could do that. That's just me, but I can do a 13, 16 hour, maybe a day fast here and there, but it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not faint of heart, but you just got to think about it when I get hungry, or I'm thinking I'm doing this for Christ. I'm doing this for Jesus. You know, he came for me. He bled on the cross for me. He died for my sins. I'm paying him back by doing this fast and getting to know him better. That's how I look at it. So when I get a little saliva going down my mouth, when I can taste something, I take a deep breath. I say, Lord, allow me to pass through this fast and break it acceptably for you. And it gets me through it, man. I mean, it's something where I think I want to do at least 30 days to see how my body changes, how my body reacts. And I know at the 2-week mark, I'll probably see some changes in my attitudes in my body. But right now, I'm still in the early stages.
Dope, man. Nah. You know, you got my full support, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Awesome to hear that the first week has been, quite a journey for you, and I'm excited to hear about the remainder of the journey because I'm sure you'll definitely get to the 30 days,
Yeah, absolutely.
So for sure, man, that's awesome to hear.
What about you, bro? Tell the people what's going on with you, my guy.
It's funny, like sometimes I be torn between, just giving a generic answer and like, keeping it all the way funky. I think this week I'll keep it a little bit funky without trying to get too personal. Like, I think you know that I've been dealing with a situation for some months now, and so like, it's one of the as a person, I think like one of the hardest feelings, one of the hardest things to go through is having somebody, like having feelings for somebody, having a relationship with somebody, and over time growing apart. Like no longer, somebody may not feel the way they once felt about you, and so, as somebody who's been dealing with that for a few months, it's been a real roller coaster for me. Like as far as trying to balance my own mental, trying to um, figure out what I did wrong or where I went wrong with different things and how I could have been better. And so, spending so much time like to myself recently, and like I mentioned on different episodes and stuff, having to get to know myself, it's been interesting to say the least. And so, as far as how I'm feeling today, man, all smiles. Like think like I bring it up because when I mention the roller coaster, like I've been at my lowest points over these past few months. Like I've been really low at different occasions, and as the weather breaks here, as it gets nicer outside, as I spend like more time outside, more time getting to know myself a little bit more. The more like, because with things and how things go is, you start to have to like become at peace with things. Like you start to have to accept things instead of like being in denial a bunch of like all day every day. And so when you start to like try to find the piece of it, you start to at least can make sense of things and find what your purpose is, find what makes you happy outside of a certain situation. It's not saying that situation didn't make me happy, because obviously if I had a choice, I probably would choose to be there. Um, but when another person's feelings change and you can't do anything about that, like it's completely out of your control, and you just have to accept it for what it is, and take that accountability for what the situation is, where it currently stands. Um, you learn a lot about yourself. You're forced to learn a lot about yourself. Um, be at peace with life, regardless of the things that you've done, decisions that you've made. You can't go back and change those things. It's never it is what it is, but ultimately it's like this is where things stand. And so how do I just go about being okay? Because at the end of the day, uh fortunately but not fortunately, life don't stop.
Yeah.
Life continues going, and in that, you got to figure out how to be okay. We all find different ways to cope with different things, and you know genuinely, honestly speaking, I've probably had a lot of unhealthy ways of trying to go about coping. You know what I mean? Because that's a part of it sometimes. Um, but trying to be healthier, trying to be more sound and more, more grounded in everything. Um, you know, things have evolved over time, and so things will constantly continue to evolve. Obviously, you never know what the future holds. Only time will tell. But today is a better day. You know.
Absolutely, bro. Well, that was a lot. I'm always gonna have you in my prayers, brother. I know you're going through a lot over there. I know the situation that you wanted to happen didn't happen the way you wanted, and I know you fought a lot. I know you fought for that. I know you tried to get into the place that you wanted it to be. You tried to perfect it, put the puzzles back together, but like you said, some people fall out of love, and it's hard to move on from that when you know how good it was before all the tragicness happened, before it was this, before it was that. You remember those sweet memories. You remember this. You remember that. And I think you're going through it good. I think you're seeing a positive out of it. And I know that if you could snap your fingers, you will go back to how it used to be. And I know it's tough, but
Not even just back to how it used to be, because we're not gonna stay on this long. That's what we're not
yes,
gonna do. But sometimes you think that you could snap your fingers and be over something too, and I just think that that's the reason why I bring it up, is because sometimes it's a misconception that, like, when a chapter ends, that you're supposed to be over it in this amount of time or that amount of time. People try and put a time frame on what that's supposed to look like. Each individual person is going to have their time period of how long it takes them to genuinely move on. And so,
right,
I rather than fake it for people and fake it for you know another person's perception, I think is healthy to just be like, yo, this is what I'm going through, for real. You know what I mean? Like, all that other nonsense is all that other capping and all that. It serves no real purpose in terms of trying to get to genuine happiness in the long run. You know what I mean? But neither here nor there.
yeah, I agree with you, bro. And I'm not even gonna give a rebuttal because I know you want to move past it. So, like I said, I got you in my prayers, brother. We're gonna make it through this little hump up in your life.
Yeah. But what we looking like today, man?
All
What
right.
we got going on?
All right, so we got a quick episode today. It's not gonna be as long as we think it's gonna be. We got three topics we're gonna cover. And maybe an extra one at the end. First, we're gonna talk about protesting that's been going on nationwide. Individuals at different Ivy League prestigious universities have been protesting the Israel and Palestine conflict. We'll talk about that. We'll read an article from the New York Times, get Chris's feedback on it, get my feedback on it. Then we're going to talk about, we're going to tie into basketball right now, the playoffs. You know, a lot of teams are out. You know, there's a couple teams still remaining. Talk about, you know, did we see this coming? Is this something, you know, that could change, or is the guy that used to be always in the playoffs now they're not going to be in the playoffs now? You know, what's going on? Are new guys taking over? We'll talk about that. We'll dive into that, and then lastly, we're going to talk about
Drake.
Drake and Kendrick. We'll talk about their beef, how that kind of got started. We kind of covered it a little bit last episode, but a lot has been unfolded. I'll let Chris handle that one because he's a lot more polished in the hip hop game, and he understands it a little bit better than I, and he has a little bit more energy and time into that. So I'll let him in on that. So first, let's get into the protests, okay? So this is an article from the New York Times. It says, taking cues from students, UCLA faculty members joined the protest. At UCLA, a few professors helped negotiate with the university. At Columbia, they guarded the encampment, but not all faculty members are on board. Earlier this week, some faculty members at the University of California, Los Angeles, had an emergency call with students who were active in the pro-Palestinian protest. Excuse me. We just got a really clear message from them. We feel unsafe, and we like your help in fixing this, recalled Graham Blair, an associate professor of political science. In that moment, several dozen faculty activists volunteered to join the students in shifts around the clock in their encampment on the campus. And in the dark hours of Thursday morning, as the police cracked down on the protest, those faculty members were linking arms with students, allowing themselves to be arrested. It was one of the clearest instances of a little noted fact of the student demonstration against the war on Gaza, that a small fraction of faculty members at UCLA, Columbia, and other universities have provided logistical and emotional support to the protesters. Some faculty members have formal ties to faculty and staff for Justice in Palestine, the counterpart of Students for Justice in Palestine, a decentralized national network of pro-Palestinian groups. Others are not necessarily sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, but see a moral obligation to protect the free speech and the welfare of their students, who are facing some of the biggest disruptions to their educational lives since the pandemic. It is a breach of trust. They would call the police on our students, said Stephanie McCurry, a history professor at Columbia University, who watched over the perimeter of the encampment before the last police sweep on Tuesday morning. The issue has torn apart the facilities at these universities more than a few say the activists. Professors are romanticizing the demonstrations, which have thrown campuses into chaos. It is a sad way to end the semester, said James Applegate, an astronomy professor at Columbia University. At Columbia, some faculty members had shown their support of the students, if not necessarily for their message, by visiting the encampment before it was swept away by the police. They delivered food and water, incorporated the protests into their academic lessons, participated in the panel discussion, and stood guard outside the perimeter to make it harder for the authorities to evict the students. For faculty members, the faculty members did not necessarily agree with the views of the students on Gaza, said Camille Robix, a history professor at Columbia, but she said, I believe in their right to protest more than anything. Over the last few chaotic days, they had communicated with one another through listservs and the encrypted Signal app. On the encrypted Signal app, signing up for time slots to appear on campus. It is a counterweight pro-Israel faculty members and students form their own WhatsApp and email support groups. Those have been really helpful, said Carol Ewing Garba, a professor of applied psychology at Teacher College, an affiliate of Columbia. They actually brought people together who had never met before. It was a silver lining. Bruce Robbins, an English professor at Columbia As among those who are more devoted to the Palestinian cause, a member of Columbia's chapter of faculty and staff for justice in Palestine. He brought one of his classes to the tent as part of a course studying atrocities. It was one of the things the faculty who supported the encampment did, he said, was to take their classes inside the encampment. Two of his students, who believes were former members of the Israeli military, did not show up for that lesson. I was planning on making it as comfortable as I could, he said, but I think the feeling in the class was not running in their favor, and they may be why they did not show up. At one point, students asked the faculty members to help protect them. Dr. Rodman said, "We were described as de-escalators. Several faculty members put on orange safety vests," he said, "and got a quick training on how to not to get in a fight. If they push past us, let them push past us. I played football," he said. It was not my instinct to de-escalate, but that's what I was there to do." Dr. Applegate, the astronomy professor, thought the faculty's participation in the campus protests were part of a romanticization of the Vietnam era anti-war protests. "These guys are trying to relive 1968, he said, referring to a violent confrontation with the police that took Columbia back then. "I don't think they have any intention of having a sensible conversation with anybody." At UCLA, members of Faculty for Justice in Palestine helped negotiate with the administration, Dr. Blair said. The faculty members even hired a professional to train them in de-escalating physical or verbal conflict, he said, with the idea that the faculty could help play this role. Dr. Blair also called on her sister, Susanna Blair, a lecturer at art history at Columbia, to share her experience with about 75 UCLA faculty members on Zoom. She told them how most other students were hungry to talk about what they were going through, even though they came from different backgrounds and experienced different things differently. "Their libraries are closed right now," she said in an interview. "It's finals. They have had friends arrested. Some of them have been protesting against genocide, and this has deeply disrupted all sorts of aspects in their lives." The crisis at UCLA reached a climax on Thursday morning. Protesters learned that the administration was going to shut down their encampment, Dr. Blair said. Almost finished. The faculty was there to try to be the first people arrested, to stand in front of the students to bear witness, he said. "We watched them from a vantage as the California Highway Patrol aimed weapons that were using non-lethal ammunition. We basically pleaded with them not to aim their weapons at our students at what was an entirely peaceful protest. Ultimately, about 200 protesters were arrested along with about 10 faculty members," Dr. Blair said. "Many were lecturers and assistant professors without the protections of tenure," he said, adding, "It remains to be seen what the consequences will be." A correction was made on May 2nd, 2024. An earlier version of this article misstated the name of a pro-Palestinian group at the University of California, Los Angeles. It is a Faculty for Justice in Palestine, not a faculty and staff for Justice in Palestine. Another correction on May 6, 2024. An earlier version of this article misstated Susanna Blair's position at Columbia University. She is a lecturer, not an adjunct lecturer. All right, brother. Give me your thoughts on that. I know it was.
Give me a synopsis of this entire situation, because
All right,
like
give me a quick
that
synopsis.
that article was
So yeah,
long and all over the
it was
place.
very long. I apologize for that. I
No,
apologize
no,
for this.
you good, you good.
I'll give
Just
a brief synopsis. So
not
this
even
article,
just for me, but for the listeners, like
yeah.
a synopsis on everything that the article said and that's taking place currently, as far as we
So
know.
pretty much what happened is everybody knows about the Israel and Palestine conflict. So
Right, we discussed that.
you have individuals at Ivy League schools, prestigious universities that are protesting the Israel and Palestine conflict. So now you have them taking up arms, and not taking up arms, but making an encampment in other faculty halls, encampment outside of the schools, encampments anywhere, like standing there protesting, for the Palestine and Israel conflict. So
And
now,
not to cut you off, but
yeah,
an encampment for the people is basically where students are pretty much staying overnight.
yeah,
They're staying there.
like a refuge, like a
Exactly.
tent, chairs, maybe like campfires, all these different type of things. You know what I mean? They don't. It's not
Right.
like they're gonna have food and water and all that. They may have that. They may get donations for that, but it's pretty much outside. You're protesting. You're living in the rough right now.
Right. Right.
So
Right. Please continue.
you have students that are part of the pro Palestine movement with their at these Ivy League, at these universities, and now you have academics like lecturers, faculty members, associate professors, professors with tenure, kind of coming to grips of the protest and going out and helping their students, and then like I said in the article, you have tidbits from pro-Palestinian, and you have tidbits from individuals that are pro-Israel. And like the other doctor, he was just like, I'm out of it. Like, I just think people are just playing into this too much and romanticizing this event. He compared it to 1968 with the Vietnam War. Like, they just want something like that so they can say, oh, I was a part of that.
Right.
That's what his get up is. So this article is just displaying that in length, and also getting sides of individuals that are part of the protest and the faculty members. Like it stated, there was an arrest that was done. They arrested like 200 students, 10 faculty members at I believe at UCLA. So because
why were police involved?
The university doesn't want this, because what this does, it closes down the university. It raises alarm. It causes issues. And it creates a big conflict to where the university has to shut down a lot of the things that they're doing. So compare it to this, right? Your parents are paying $150,000, $120,000 to send you to Harvard, right? People are protesting in the faculty where your classes are being held. They're shut down. Now you don't have class. But your parents...
I can imagine why the university wouldn't want it,
right.
But do they not have the right to? I mean, because it's the protests are peaceful up to this point, right?
So there's been reports of it being peaceful sometimes and not peaceful sometimes. Like, it becomes a thing of, if you're doing an encampment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere public, why are you trying to close down certain faculty, certain halls? Like, that shouldn't be a thing, right?
But isn't that the point of a protest, is to disrupt? To be disruptive? To bring awareness
a protest is to bring awareness. If you're gonna disrupt how the school is functioning, that sounds like a riot to me. That's treading fine lines, right? Because if I'm protesting ShopRite, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. I'm protesting how ShopRite is selling meat. When I go into ShopRite and I take the meat and I take all the meat out of the packaging and I throw it on the floor, I throw it everywhere in the store. I've just did a physical disruptive protest that wasn't peaceful at all. It's
Exactly.
not peaceful. It's not. That's illegal. That can be disorderly conduct. That can be causing a riot. That can be disturbing the peace wherever state you're from. You can be charged with that. So
yeah, that's committing a crime.
I don't think police are like, police are doing this because the university is saying, yo, we don't want this. This is impeding upon how we're conducting business.
I mean, but to the point that you just made about the person who goes into the supermarket and picks up the pack of meat and starts, obviously destroying packaging, et cetera, et cetera. What law is being broken that would require police presence? I mean, they're not loitering, they're students,
right? If you're impeding the flow of students to get to point A and point B, you're disrupting business at the school. There's videos. I don't have any videos to show, but there's videos of students, locking arms in a protest. Mind you, I don't have a dog in a fight in this one. I'm just telling you what I've seen and what I know. There's video of students, pro-Palestinian students, locking arms, and students trying to get by to get to where they need to go. They're stopping them. Why are you impeding individuals trying to get to where they need to go? They're not trying to disrupt your protest. They're just trying to get to point A to point B. That's a problem. That's impeding business. You're stopping individuals from conducting regular business.
I mean,
that's not a protest. A protest is we're going to stand outside. We're going to stand at Legislative Hall. We're going to stand here with our signs and we're going to protest until people come and say, oh my God, look what they're doing. If we go into the courtroom at Legislative Hall and we start tearing things down or we start not allowing people to come in, that's a problem. You can't do that. You're going to be arrested.
No, I mean, you
can't impede business. You can't impede business. So now, I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for protest and peaceful protest. But when it comes to impeding individuals trying to get their education, you got academics and faculty taking sides and everything like that. It can, that's a little bit, I'm not going to say it's biased, but it's a little bit of cause of concern, right? Because now I get it. These individuals are protesting a war that's going on that they don't feel comfortable with or they think it's wrong. I 100% agree, and I totally get it. But at the end of the day, there's different ways to have your message heard. There's different ways to do a
Of course.
protest. You know what I mean? I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm saying there's other ways to go about it, because if it wasn't an issue, because we're not talking about conservative schools here. We're talking about Ivy League, very liberal schools. They're not top of the line conservative schools. UCLA, Columbia, they're very liberal. So why are they why are they concerned? Why are their deans of their schools telling police, "Hey, we need to get this taken care of"? If they're all for it, if they're okay with it, then why are they complaining about it?
I mean, I don't know. I know when it comes to protesting, um, the point of a protest is to force uncomfortability. With the obviously with the point of bringing awareness to said issue. So if they were to protest in a way that makes UCLA feel comfortable, is it actually a protest? It's not. In essence, it's not really a protest. So, um, I'm all for the the right to protest and to actually, put on a peaceful demonstration, regardless of how comfortable the business may be. If no laws are being broken, and I'm not going to agree with any police being called or any police breaking up any peaceful protest. Now, listen, if somebody is trying to walk through, granted, you can probably walk around. There's nothing that
Right.
says that you have to walk through this space. So you essentially, by trying to walk through me, are trying to break up my peaceful protest.
I mean, if that's the only
But
way, then what are you gonna do?
what you mean? Like if you walking into a building, unless we in a building the size of my desk, then what's to stop you from just walking around me?
You're stopping me from getting to the only access point into the building. How am I gonna get into the building?
So am I stopping you from getting access into the building, or are you accessing the
If
building and
I'm
you
saying
just gotta walk
if
around
I'm
me?
walking and
Like
and
you
you
is
say
it
no, you
because
can't.
obviously I ain't see the video, but like if
I,
you can walk
I gotta
around
send a
me,
video. I gotta
then
send a video. I
if
got.
you could walk around me, then walk around me. Ain't no
Yeah.
reason for you to be trying to walk through me. Like I
Yeah.
is to me, I mean, like I said, if you're trying to walk through me, then and I'm peacefully standing here, I'm peacefully demonstrating, then at that point you're breaking up a peaceful protest. So you're actually disturbing me in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, but um, you know, we've like you said, at the end of the day, I have no dog in the race. I have no dog in the fight whatsoever. Like,
Yeah.
if there's laws being broken, then at that point, if police got to get involved, then police got to get involved. If there's physical demonstrations or physical altercations, whether it be misunderstandings, anything of that nature, then um, police police have to get involved.
So let me ask you a question real quick, Chris. Sorry to cut you off.
No, no, no.
If you was doing a protest, would you wear a mask if you were protesting?
Would I wear a mask if I was
Like, would you cover
protesting?
your face? Would you feel the need to cover your face if you were fighting for something you believe in?
I mean, I have, so I guess in that sense, yeah. Like, I mean, I've
So
worn
if it's
I've
a
worn like
protest,
the COVID mask and
right?
stuff.
But if it's a protest for you, because I know you're really against like gun violence. That's like your number one thing. You're not for gun violence at all. If it's a thing of you're gonna go to Leg Hall or whatever and do a protest on a bill they about to pass,
Hmm.
are you gonna be masked up? Or are you gonna come in there with your sign and be like, "Yo, I'm out here. I'm protesting because I'm against this gun violence that's going on in our cities. I want to change. I want to do this. This is why I'm protesting. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna protest." Which
Now, given that a mask can also be a form of protest, I'm not going to 100% rule it out whatsoever, especially if I can still identify who I am.
right?
If I have no problem now, if you asking me, would I protest and hide my identity? That's like
That's what I'm asking.
that's like throwing a
Asking.
rock and hiding your hand.
Yeah.
At that point, no, because I
Yeah.
mean that What was you about to say?
No, keep going, keep going. You making a good point. You're making a good
No,
point.
I'm just saying that's throwing the rock and hiding your hand. I mean, if I'm protesting something, then I at that point I would assume that I feel strongly enough about it to
Yeah,
voice how I feel about it. And so, um, I don't think that the two go hand. I don't think the two go hand in hand in terms of protesting, but protesting anonymously. I don't.
yeah.
I don't agree with that.
The only reason I bring it up because every time when I look at the protest videos, what I've seen is majority of the time the protesters have their face covered, and I'm looking, I'm like, if I'm feeling strongly about something, now I get it, maybe because if they're part of the protest, they can face some type of disciplinary action. I get it. If that's the point. Okay, cool. I'm 100% with you. If you're gonna face disciplinary, you don't want to be disciplined or you don't want to be suspended. I'm with you. I'm 100% agree with you. But if it's something for I don't want people to know I'm doing this, or I have some reservations, then you're not 100% for the cause.
Yeah,
You're
no, I
not
agree.
100% for the cause. You're gonna show your face when individuals was protesting in the '60s, civil rights, segregation. They didn't have masks. You didn't see black folks with masks on. You seen them in a suit. You seen them with their families. You seen them going to work. What I see now with these protests, people wearing Muslim attire, people covering their faces, people, and it's like, are you really care about your cause? Because if I really cared about my cause, I would be dressed to the nine and I'd be protesting and I'd be doing what I need to do. Why would I? Why would I? Why would I cover my face if it's something I care about? If I'm a pro lifer and I wanna protest, abortion or whatever the case may be, I'm not hiding my hand. This is what I believe in. This is what I care for. You know what I mean? Like you said, if it's something anonymous, then cool, I get it. But if it's something where, I just cover my face 'cause I don't want people to know I'm out here, then you're not really for it. What are you there for? You're more like an antagonist.
For sure. I mean,
Look at it.
I agree. I agree with that point. As far as if that's what I don't obviously, like I said, I haven't seen too many of the. I've seen some of the videos as far as like some of the stuff that's been going on at graduations and things
Mhm.
like that. And that's unfortunate because, um, again, the like you support everybody's right to protest, and everybody should protest, um, in the manner that they so choose that causes as much uncomfortability as needed to bring awareness to your cause. This cause in particular is just obviously it it hits home for people, and so it's not something that's new, but protest in the way that you feel you need to bring the most awareness. With that being said, like sometimes, and I get that this might not be like super popular to say, but sometimes it doesn't hurt to like you know consider like the when, the where, the time, and the place, and who it may ultimately affect. Because like, unfortunately, for some people, they might not be going on to like grad school, and so that might be
Right.
their one moment. And um, as much as you want to support people's right to protest, you also feel empathy for those people who will only have this moment once, and it might not have gone in a way that um is ideal or was dreamed of because of circumstances that are out of their control. It's it's a tough spot to be in when that's the setting that a protest is had at.
Yeah, good point. A good point. I agree with you. Like you said, I think if it's something where it's a one and done, they just want to do it. They don't have nothing to worry about afterwards. They out there. But I know I want to end it on this. I think I love to see our Bill of Rights being utilized and exercised freely. I hope the police aren't infringing upon their rights and allowing them to protest freely. But when it comes to doing a peaceful protest and it kind of muddies the waters of being a riot or being a disturbing of peace, I think they should be charged accordingly. And I think I think we need to allow these individuals to speak and allow them to have their freedom of speech. Like people, like this is why America is such a great country because people can literally get on here and protest, burn the flag, say I hate America, but all these all these things, which is like, you're in your right. You couldn't do that in another country. So that's my ending on that.
We're we on to the next topic.
On to the next one. So we're gonna pivot. So we're gonna talk about now, playoffs.
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 Okay.
Unless you
So
pick one.
not sure how many people are aware, but we're in the second round of this year's NBA playoffs, 2023-2024 NBA playoffs. Second round of the NBA playoffs. We got a few teams left. We have the Thunder and the Mavs, Timberwolves and the Nuggets, Celtics and the Cavs, and the Pacers and the Knicks. Real time, the Pacers and the Knicks are playing right. I think that game might have just finished, if I'm not
Game going right
mistaken.
now.
Or yeah, I think it's going on right now. But yeah, we got, like I said, we got the Thunder, the Mavs, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Celtics, Cavs, Knicks, and Pacers left. Might I guess come as a surprise to some people, just being as though some of the household names that we've gotten to know over the past 10, 15, even 20 years, are no longer competing for this year's championship. We got a fresh crop of faces, some regulars, some that have been here before, and then some that are on a brand new stage. And with being on a brand new stage, they're going to be put in a higher echelon, in a different category of player, moving forward, most likely. So when I say that, a couple of guys that come to mind that have been getting a lot of shine this year has been Anthony Edwards, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Um, Again, a team that, based off of heritage and history, probably come as a surprise, um, as far as not having much postseason success. And again, with Ant being a younger player, might not be a name that the masses are familiar with just yet, but based on the trajectory, based on the way he's performed up to this point throughout the postseason, for certain, guaranteed to be a name that we'll hear moving forward. What's up?
Let me add one thing. So people don't know, there's a rumor going on. It's allegedly, that's Michael Jackson's illegitimate son. I mean, Michael Jordan's illegitimate son. That's a rumor.
You knocked me out with the Michael Jackson. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa, where do we just go with this?
my bad. So the rumor is because if everybody knows, and I'll tell this quick story and then I'll let Chris finish it off. But the rumor is when Michael Jordan was playing for the Wizards back in like 2001 to 2003, he admitted like he was having relations with like three different women every night. And in the interview, he goes to say, hey, there might be one of my kids right now playing in the NBA. Now, if you look at Anthony, he don't have a father. Like his father, that he doesn't like. He just has his mom. He was born with a single mother, so he doesn't know his dad. That's clue number one. If you compare the pictures between Michael Jordan at his age and Anthony, they look very similar, very strikingly similar at that, and their play style is a little bit similar too. So just throwing that out there. I'll let you finish, but I just want to throw that out
Nah,
a little
we gotta throw in some
twister.
salaciousness for
Yeah,
sure.
just a little twister because I seen that and I was like, you know what? That kind of I see that a
you,
little bit.
you felt the resemblance. You saw the resemblance in the game, and you was like,
Yeah, bro.
I can see it. I can
I
see
can
it.
see
It
a
makes
little bit
sense.
from the play
Well,
style, from how they do it. Yeah, I can see a little bit of it.
I'm I'm a no comment on that one. Like you said, allegedly,
It's all
we
alleged.
don't,
It's all alleged.
you know what I mean. But nonetheless, for sure, a great player. Um, like you said, I could see where some would say his game has some resemblances to MJ. We obviously ain't going to go there. I'm not going to go there just yet, because he's still young. You want to give
Yeah.
him a chance to make his own name, but. And like they said the same thing about Kawhi a few years ago. They still say that about Kawhi to this day sometimes, when he plays. Um, but no, like I said, and then you got that's on the Western Conference, right? And obviously um they're they're up 2-0 right now on the defending champs, against the with the Denver Nuggets, excuse
Oh
me.
wow.
Um,
They
so
up 2-0?
Yeah, they up 2-0. They up 2-0 and going back to Minnesota. They won
Oh,
two. They won two on the road in Denver.
they about to get him out of here.
So yeah, it's a lot going on in that series. Especially with Jamal Murray. What he just did, throwing a towel and I think it was a heating pad on the court. Just a ugly move by him. He got fined 100,000 by the NBA today. So a lot of surprise from me, and not just me but others, that he didn't get suspended based on the conduct that he displayed. You can't be throwing stuff on the court during a competitive game like that. That's not called for. No matter how upset you are, no matter what's going on during the game, it's just not called for. Um, but needless to say, again, another guy to look out for. Um, Jalen Brunson with the Knicks. I hate to admit it, obviously, just based on what they did to my Sixers, but another name that might not have been considered a superstar just yet, or maybe still not. It's only the second round of the playoffs, but has done a lot for himself in terms of his stock and his stock rising based on the performance that he's put in this postseason. I think dudes like Jason Tatum and Luca, who've been around, who've had deep playoff runs, they're kind of stamped already. Um, but I don't want to discredit them in the fact that they've put on this level of consistency over the years. But those two specifically come to the top of my head as far as teams that are still in it, players that are still in it, that are proven to be the cream of the crop and looking like the next if they continue on the trajectory to be the next generation of superstar. Um, what's your thoughts on the playoffs so far? Have you been tapped into anything? Like, any
So,
thoughts on anything I just said?
so I think what you said, I 100% agree with you with the fresh talent with what's happening now. I think once this is all clips. I gotta remind the audience, I don't have cable, so that's why I have to lean on Chris because he got everything. He can watch everything. I don't have cable. I can't really watch live basketball like that. Everything I do is streams. So I'll give my 2 cents on this. I think Ant, Luca, Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum. Those guys are the future of basketball. I mean, there's nothing more you can say about that. I think with Katie being out, getting put out, Steph getting put out, and LeBron getting put out, and AD getting put out. I think it just kind of shows you like these young boys came in here and they played, and they was gonna put the old heads away.
For
Um,
sure.
and it's sad because you look at somebody like LeBron, his reputation, his lineage, well, not his lineage, but how
His
long he's
legacy.
been in the game, how effective he is, how efficient he is, and then he gets put out first round, and you're like, what was that?
I
What was that?
mean, man, that's a whole nother thing, man. The Lakers just fired Darvin Ham after 2 seasons, so they're gonna have a new coach next year. But to me, it's roster construction, man. That they didn't really do much to improve their team from last year, and so they went into the season with just an older LeBron, an older AD, pretty much the same core, and I don't think that core is good enough to get it done. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of it falls on their GM. I don't know if he's necessarily getting as much of the blame as he probably should be getting, because I think he's essentially wasting the end of LeBron's career. But that's a whole nother subject, man, as far as just the way that team is put together and why they chose to run it back with basically the exact same team, instead of trying to make improvements.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't understand that at all. Like you said, it's bad roster control, but at the end of the day, you know, LeBron, you say you're the GOAT. He said that in the interview. He said he's the greatest of all time. If you're the greatest of all time, you need to do the greatest of all time things. If you're the greatest of all time, you need to lead your team to victory. Don't say you're the GOAT, and then when you do an interview, and then they ask you about what happened, you say it's just basketball. How dare you? How dare you? You say in an interview post game, it's just basketball, it's just basketball, it's just basketball. How dare you? How dare you say it's just basketball when people have played this sport, put their life on the line for it, played it with the utmost respect, and you say it's just basketball? Just say, we lost, It is what it is. We got to go back to the drawing board. I'm gonna be hungrier next year. Or you just say, it just wasn't the right time for us at this time. Don't just say it's just basketball when you get paid hundreds of $1,000,000 to play the game. Like that was crazy to me. Can you imagine
I
Kobe
don't know.
saying that,
I take
Jordan
that
saying that?
differently, man.
Uh,
I mean, no, no, no. Listen, we're talking about two different kind of people. I mean, two different. I mean, I'm not going to be the one to take anything away from LeBron's competitiveness because I know LeBron cares about the game and I know LeBron loves the game and is passionate about the game. Um, at the end of the day, LeBron isn't the. I mean, he. Most people will probably say he's de facto general manager, but he's not the
yes,
one pulling the strings for to put the pieces together on the team. LeBron is not in his prime anymore, and LeBron can't put the team on his back the way he could have um, back in like his Cleveland days or even in his early Laker days. The days of LeBron putting the team on his back and carrying them across any finish line are over. That's why we're talking about what we're talking about now. Because prime LeBron took scrubs to the finals. Unfortunately, that's just not the place that he's at in his career. Of course, he's going to need a little bit of help to get there, and I think AD played a hell of a series, man. Truth be in that first round series, because obviously they got eliminated. But um, when your supporting cast isn't as good as the other supporting, I mean, not even just, yeah, your supporting cast, because just because you're a starter doesn't mean that you're a star. And so if your starters can't consistently outplay the other team's starters, and then you're not getting much contribution bench wise, then you're not going to win. And that's just the reality of basketball. I like you said, that's just the reality of it. Not to scapegoat and not to take um any responsibility off of him. He's the leader of the team, but he is also 40. And so if a 40-year-old is your best player, then I mean, given granted LeBron is still a great player, he's just not prime LeBron.
like,
So
and you're talking about a guy, LeBron, even in his 40, and I'm gonna give him credit, right? He's still averaging like 25, 8, and 7. So that's
still an
that's
all-star.
that's still legit. That's not bum number.
Damn near all NBA.
That's
Might
all
probably
star
gonna be all
number.
NBA.
So if this is the thing, if we're gonna play the age card, and he still produces these numbers, bro, he's producing numbers like he's still
Those is regular season numbers. The gameplay changes a lot during the
man.
postseason, man. Like the game. I mean, again, like those are regular season numbers, and regular season numbers are not as hard to come by as postseason numbers. The game is just different. The physicality increases. You're playing every other night on a regular basis at that point. Like you instead of playing 36 minutes, now you're playing 42 minutes a night. Like it's 45 minutes a night.
But
It's just different when you are a older player. And again, like he's still their best player. He's still going to be the one that's mostly at fault regardless. And
but
he's still LeBron, but just thinking that it's going to come down to whether or not he's going to carry him there. He don't have that ability no more. He don't.
so with LeBron, and then with him saying this comment, right? And you're saying like it's not him, it's the team, and I get all that. Why couldn't he just say in that moment, we're gonna go back to the drawing board. There's a couple things we gotta fix up. There's a couple things we gotta do. We gotta get better. We gotta go back. Why do you have to say it's just basketball?
To me, that's
Like
semantics. To me, it's
like that like
semantics.
like that to me, like that's like me saying if we play Madden and you beat me 21-0, and I'm telling you I'm the best or this, that, and the third, and I say, oh, it's just Madden, but you beat me. And I don't congratulate you saying, yo, that was you a good team, blah blah blah. But I just say, oh, it's just Madden. What you getting happy about? That's literally how I take LeBron. That's my perception, right? My perception is different from your perception.
Yeah, I perceive it
But if he's
different. I
saying, oh, it's
perceive
just
it
basketball,
different.
that's like Dak Prescott losing in the playoffs and saying, well, at the end of the day,
I
guys,
should have heard it. I would
it's
have.
just
I should
football.
have heard it in this full context because I didn't hear it in the full context in terms of that specific comment. But I'm just not really like. but without hearing it, I can't really question his competitiveness or how much he cares about it.
I'm not.
But
I'm
it might even be a way like I'm taking the like he might have been trying to downplay it, but nonetheless, I think he leaves it all out on the floor,
I,
So
I'm not saying he played half-ass. I never said that. What I am saying is to make a comment like that. If you look at your predecessors and you play for the Lakers, one of the greatest dynasties in the game of basketball, one of the greats, right? Team wise, you think Wilt Chamberlain would have said that? You think Magic Johnson said that? You think Kobe would have said that? Shaq, Kareem, James Worthy. The list goes on.
these players today don't get caught up with being held to the standard of players from the past. They're not trying to be like. I mean, some. I mean, LeBron's still a killer, but I feel you, man. LeBron's still one of them
Now,
killers,
I'm not taking that away from
but
him,
I
bro. I
feel
just
you.
gave him credit for averaging 25, 8, and 7 in the regular season at 40 years old. I'm giving him credit for that. But what I'm trying to dissect here is for him to say that, and I gave you the comparison. I'm a Cowboys fan. That's like Dak Prescott losing in the playoffs and saying, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's just football, guys. It's just football. Like, it's just like, what? What are you talking about? What do you mean it's just football? I know it's just football. Why did you lose? What happened?
That's a bad answer.
Like, it is bad. And I think during the offseason, he needed to take accountability for that. And when they asked him the question again, hey, LeBron, what did you learn this past offseason with the loss in the first round? What are you guys going to do to improve on that? And I want him to have a better answer. If he has another answer, it's
What
just
was the question? What was the question?
I have to let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
Because I don't like. Why would he? Why would he? I don't get why he would answer the question of why did y'all lose or what was the cause of y'all losing to it's just basketball. I don't understand that from.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can play this real quick.
Can you turn it up?
To my own time, we've played a lot of games. We know what it takes to win. We know what it takes to win a championship and how, you know, damn near perfect you got to be. That's not like something that's so crazy to obtain. I've been a part of it 4 times where you have to have almost perfect basketball to win, and I've done it with him. So I'm not a guy that you should ask that because I don't feel a way about anybody that don't want to strive to be as close to perfect as possible. And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
You heard it, right?
Yeah, I heard him. I
So
heard him.
it sounded like when he said that, it sounded like he was tired of answering the question. He wanted to wrap it up. And if you look at the video, when you get a chance, let's look at his facial expression. Like, it was one of them, like,
It sounded like he was saying that like, yo, everybody don't love basketball as much as I love basketball. So like, I don't hold it against the guy if he don't love it as much as I love it, cause it's just basketball.
and you
So,
see, when you see what you just said. That's why LeBron, to me, will never have that killer instinct that I think he could in comparison to Kobe.
but he wasn't talking about
Hold on,
himself
listen,
though.
LeBron. Let me make my point. For him saying that, like, I'm just taking from what you perceive. You
Uh,
just said, the guys on the team don't love it, blah blah blah, bro. And I'm comparing a Laker to a Laker.
uh.
You heard the stories of Kobe Bryant coming in on the team, snapping on guys, getting them ready, doing and using his work ethic to motivate. You've heard the stories of him on the Olympic basketball team, getting up at 4 in the morning. All the guys wanted to work out with him. You've heard stories like that. So for LeBron to say, it's just basketball, and your perception on, well, not everybody hungry like that. And I'm a guy. I watched The Last Dance. I watched when Jordan was pushing all his guys. He didn't give a damn about what they felt about it, whatever. You're telling me it's two of y'all, two all-stars, you and AD, and like you said, AD played great. I'm not taking that away from him. But come on, guys. You guys been
Nah,
here.
nah. I will. I'll concede to that. Like, I'll concede that. Like, I don't think that. Like, Kobe would have tolerated somebody
No,
that wasn't trying to be the greatest, or at least striving to win it all. Like if that wasn't your mentality going in, then I don't think that Kobe would have made you feel comfortable on that team. Period.
no, bro. He would have
So I
made
mean,
he would have made you want to leave, trade, or whatever. And it's like that's the difference from LeBron and him. Like people always compare who's who's greatest, who's greatest. Da, da, da. And I think it's you go by greatness by the decade. Who was the greatest during that time? That's how I look at it. To be honest, I don't look at it as all time because all time you can kind of make an argument for a lot of people. That's all your perception. You know, it's all your perception. If you're gonna go by championships, you say Bill Russell. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go by points, you say LeBron, or you can say Kareem. If you're gonna go by finals appearances and just domination, you say Jordan. So you can go wherever you want. I go by decade and how whoever was better in that time. But at this moment in time, with LeBron, like you said, he's 40. He's at the end of his career. It's kind of already been cemented. Like this is how he is. This is how he's always been. You've never heard stories of LeBron like, LeBron got us up. We all went down and worked out. We all pushed each other. We all did that. I've never heard stories about that. I've heard stories of him coming in there, changing the dynamic of the team, making it better, but on a friendly level. And then you can say, was that the thing that tarnished him from only having 4 championships out of 11, 12 appearances in the finals? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Because if you look at the team that he lost to, on paper, he shouldn't have lost to them.
what team shouldn't he have lost to?
He shouldn't have lost. He shouldn't
He
have
lost to a great Golden State team.
He shouldn't have lost to Dallas.
Lost to a great Spurs team.
Shouldn't have lost to Dallas. Shouldn't have lost to Dallas.
That's one.
Dallas had one. Yeah, that's one. That's the first one. They had 3 All-Stars on their team. They had 3 All-Stars on their team at that time. It was the first year they went to the championship with their All-Star team. That was the moment in time when everybody questioned LeBron because his free throw shooting was horrible and his decision making wasn't.
But I think we all know that he kind of folded in that series. I don't think anybody like debates whether or not he had a subpar performance in that series. I think that's a part of his legacy. Like I think it's well documented part of his legacy.
Right, but you asked me which one he should have won. He should have won the Dallas.
That's just one though. That's just one. So, but we're talking about 12 appearances, getting there. I think it was 10 straight times at one point, whatever crazy number it was. But like he played all-time great teams every time, with the exception of one time. So was he supposed to win against those all-time great teams? I mean,
no. There's a couple teams he
when they were stacked with Hall of Famers, all of them.
No. So,
and you a Spurs fan, you know.
I do know. I know how great the Spurs are. I know during that 2000, that mid 2000s to early 2010s, they were unstoppable. They had their run because back to that.
Yeah, multiple runs.
But back then, basketball in the Spurs was okay. I got a solid 5 team. Got Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, Bruce Bowen, and you can throw in Kawhi. Kawhi came in on the later end, and then you can probably substitute out like they had Patty Mills and all and that guy as well. So Spurs had a decked out team, even in the late 90s and in the 2000s. They had a decked out team. So I'm not taking that away. That team is very successful. Don't get it twisted. And then even if we're gonna say like, Golden State, like he faced Golden State 3-4 times. He won 1 out of the 3 times. Something like that.
He faced them 4 times. He won 1 and lost 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm trying to beat up on LeBron. I sound like I'm beating up on him. I like LeBron I like LeBron because he's a respectable basketball person. He's somebody you can look up to. He's never had a scandal. He's never been in the paper for negativity. I respect him because of that. That's the one thing I can say out of everybody else. You've never seen LeBron in the news for negative stuff. And as a black man,
why don't you respect him because of his game?
I do respect him. I never said I didn't respect him because his
I
game is
mean, it sounded like when that's like almost like a backhanded compliment when I'm an all time great and you tell me you respect me because I'm
because
spotless off the court.
I'm comparing him to the other individuals that I consider great.
Oh, okay.
So I'm comparing him to Kobe. Kobe had that whole issue with that thing in Colorado. Comparing him to Jordan, gambling. You know what I mean? Multiple women, cheating allegations. You know, comparing him to Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain was a freaking womanizer. Had something over 20,000 women. LeBron does not have any stain on his profile. That's what makes him great in that respect. Now we're talking about the game from 2003. From 2000. I want to say 2008, 2009 till probably like 2021, 2022. LeBron dominated. He dominated for a long time. I'm giving him credit. He dominated. He's a dominated dude. He dominates the game of basketball. But there's certain things that's always gonna take away from his resume. Like people put Steph Curry ahead of him as the great. I think that's crazy to me. But then it's like Steph got his own accolade. That's why I said it's all your perception when you say who the great is. Like Steph Curry gonna go down as the greatest 3-point shooter, but greatest of all time. I don't know. He got the accolade. He got the rings. He got the MVPs. I don't know.
Yeah, but he played on great teams and he wasn't always the best player on his team in the finals.
Right. Yeah, we can say that. And then again, that's semantics. Because LeBron played on really good teams too.
But he was always the best player on his team.
You play semantics again because that one the 1 year where they went 73 and 9 and they lost that year, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the greatest teams in basketball history, and they lost. That's similar to
he was MVP, but he wasn't great in the finals.
No, he wasn't.
That's my point. That's why you can't really. I mean, Steph is a great, but he's just not the greatest. Like
you can play the role, you can play the game, man. That's why I said
to argue that one.
It's hard though. It's hard because who's your favorite player? Who's your favorite player that ever played the game?
AI.
Okay, so AI to you, right? Me is Tim Duncan for me, right? So I can make an argument like Tim Duncan was the greatest that I seen play. As a power forward, one of the best. Anybody with even Charles Barkley gives him his accolades, and Charles Barkley is considered one of the greatest that played that position.
Right.
So you can argue AI and your perception on how you view it. You can say, to me, he changed the game when I watched it. To me, he's one of my greatest. Everybody's perception is different. Now, people might say, well, he don't got the ring, but he changed basketball when he came in. He changed it with the style. He changed it with the flair, with the vibe. AI changed basketball when he came in. People was copying his style when he came in. He crossed over Jordan. He had so many memorable moments that changed basketball. His career didn't pan out the way it was supposed to, but it is what it is. But you can make the argument. The argument can be made. That's somebody that you think is one of the greatest. The argument can be made. But
for sure,
I think we can go down the rabbit hole all night on basketball. I'll tell you that one. Especially
we'll talk some more ball as the playoffs proceed, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So, last topic of the night.
Last topic is Drake and Kendrick. So, Chris, I'll let you proceed again with Drake and Kendrick. I know the last time we talked about it, we talked about Kendrick dropped the Like That. That was the last thing we talked about, and we covered it. So now, what's happened so far? What's happened?
We talked about J. Cole tapping out. We gotten a lot since then, man. It's kind of crazy because not much time has passed, and we've gotten so much in such a short amount of time. So, I think literally probably almost right after we recorded the last time, the way I recall it was Drake replied to Like That with push-ups. So Drake replied to Like That with push-ups.
Yeah.
Push-ups was a dope record. And it kind of set things in motion. Like that set things in motion, but push-ups really let us know that we was ready for we was going to see a back and forth as far as we knew. Even if it stopped there, that's a back and forth. But
Right.
after push-ups, we get Tailor Made Freestyle, another record from Drake. So Drake comes right back from push-ups to Tailor Made Freestyle featuring AI. Excuse me, AI verses from Tupac, the late great Tupac, and Snoop Dogg, obviously two West Coast legends. Basically voiceovers of Drake rapping as the two of them, talking to Kendrick. As far as strategy and how to proceed, but basically, Drake put out a record with Tupac and Snoop on it. Don't need to get too deep into the content of the record. It was a dope record. I liked it. It was actually pretty cool for the time that it came out. A couple days go by. Kendrick Lamar comes back with Euphoria, 6-minute record. Most of it going at Drake. The entire record mainly focusing on Drake. A lot of disses in there as far as Drake not writing his raps. Drake questioning Drake's blackness. Damn, I know I'm forgetting more. But just responding to Drake's two records, and then if I'm remembering correctly, because I'm telling you, it was a lot back and forth, a lot
Right.
to try to remember. And so after Euphoria, I'm pretty sure Drake responds with Family Matters.
Right.
Drake responds with Family Matters, responding to Euphoria. And it was again another dope record. Like it's kind of hard to like complain with either record, with any of these records that came out during this entire beef or this entire back and forth. I thought both rappers was putting out dope records. Just certain records was hitting a little bit harder for whatever reason. So Drake puts out Family Matters. It's a 7-minute record. Along the same lines as push-ups, as far as coming for Kendrick, also coming for some of these other dudes that have been coming for him, The Weeknd, ASAP Rocky, Future a little bit, just getting at everybody. Kendrick Lamar responds immediately. I believe within the next hour, Kendrick puts out a record called Meet the Grams. The biggest, I guess, headlines from Meet the Grams and the release of this was, number one, the cover art. The cover art had a picture of a shirt with a pair of Maybach gloves, a couple prescription bottles, and a prescription from a pharmacy with Drake's name on it for Ozempic.
Wow.
Do you know what Ozempic is?
Yeah, it's the weight loss drug.
I wasn't familiar with what Ozempic was until all of this. So cover art has the prescription with Drake's name on it for Ozempic. It's kind of crazy. A little bit. It was a little bit. I guess shocking to say the least. Damn, I forgot one too. Between all of this, Kendrick also put out 616 in LA. That was a record that he put out on Instagram at first. Which, yo, I'm not even going to sit up here and try and pretend to remember all the correlations and all the deep dives into what all the meanings for 616 was in retrospect. If you've been on the internet for the past week, you've seen all the freaking double and triple quadruple entendres, that meanings behind what 616 was. and why it was an important reference, why it was dope that the record was put out at 616. Like it was a lot there. Like I don't I don't know if this makes me corny, a nerdy rap dude, but for me, I found that dope that he put that much thought and calculation into it, and still um pretty much dissecting Drake. And again, now we're back at, like I said, Family Matters coming out. Kendrick stepping on that immediately with Meet the Grams with the Ozempic shit. Um and then following that up immediately with the Not Like Us record. Um Pretty much a pretty up tempo song, West Coast bop. Um a lot of quotables and lines from there that'll probably live on for a little while. And that was followed up finally by Drake with The Heart Part 6, which was a response to everything from Meet the Grams, everything from Not Like Us. Um, it sounded like the conclusion of this whole thing. I don't see where we would get another record from either of the two of them in the near future that's directly aimed at the other one. Unless somebody has a project or something coming out, then maybe you see another shot or two here or there. But um, aside from that, like I think this is what we're going to get. I think that this has probably been like on a mainstream level, on a worldwide known level. I think this was probably one of the most entertaining back and forths that we've gotten to see. I think, like I said, I don't think there's been a bad song put out by either artist, and I know I didn't like dissect every single record right here, right now, but like the records have been out for a week now. Like 9 times out of 10, if you're watching us, you've heard the songs.
Yep.
But have you heard the songs, right?
A few of them, a couple of them, not all of them, but a couple of them.
Okay. Did you have any thoughts on where we at today? Because
So I
I
think,
mean, we're pretty much, I think, 8 songs in.
yeah, I think, like from what I've seen, from what I've heard, I think, the last one Kendrick put out was Meet the Grams, right? Or
The
was it, or
la-
was it 616?
so the last one that Kendrick put out was Not Like Us.
Not like us. So I think with that one, because I mean, this is back and forth. Usually with beef, it's usually 2, 3 songs and then it's done. Now this is
Yeah.
8 songs in. I mean, if Kendrick doesn't respond, then is Drake the winner? Do you consider Drake the winner? Like that?
So the way of the this is the way it's playing out. Like the last song that Kendrick put out is Not Like Us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not Like Us is projected to be the number one song in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So if the last song that I put out, you're gonna have to hear nonstop now, and you're gonna have people in clubs screaming "OV ho, OV ho." Like I wish I wish I could play the song without us,
Yeah,
getting
get
struck
straight,
down.
immediately.
But y'all know what I'm talking about, and you got to listen to the song, because if you listen to the song, you will understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. That like
Right.
it is no need for Kendrick to respond at this point, unless it's just like I said, unless he got a project coming out and he want to roll something out with the project. But at this point, I think it'd be overkill. Like I think I think the 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 win is with Kendrick. Like
Yeah.
and to like I don't. Yeah, to me, the win is with Kendrick. Unfortunately for Drake fans, and the crazy part is I'm not even a Kendrick fan. Like I don't. I listen to more Drake than Kendrick, if anything. But I think with how calculated, like I said, how calculated it seemed like he was throughout this entire back and forth, how prepared he showed himself to be and how aggressive he probably showed himself to be. Um I think that the records that he put out, the manner in which he put them out, the timeliness in which he put them out, taking nothing away from Drake's timeliness, because Drake responded and Drake was ready to go as well. So I just think that Drake was it seemed a little less calculated than usual.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. I think with K Dot, I think he was very meticulous with how he moved and how he wanted things to go. And I was gonna ask you, did you hear about, like, there was like a drive by or something like that outside of Drake's crib? Did you hear?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I heard about it.
So I don't think that has anything to do with their beef. I think that's just kind of a coincidence that happened, because why Kendrick doesn't have any. It's not a win-win for him. Why would he, like, he's not that type of guy. Like, he's from LA, but he's not a gang member. He's not gonna send no people to go shoot up your crib. It's not even that serious.
Nah, it's just music at the end of the day. It don't.
Yeah,
I highly doubt that got anything to do with any song that's been put out
that's what
or
I'm saying.
any rap beef, like, at all.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even. Yeah, like, that's not even like I was hearing that on all listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm like, what's Joe Rogan doing talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, getting all the facts wrong? And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, ain't no way this situation correlates to that situation. I think it's two separate incidents. I think you're somebody that probably listened to the song or whatever and took it upon themselves. I guarantee you that Kendrick did not have anything to do with sending somebody to do any of that. That's just doesn't even make sense. That's not even in his character. If you listen to his music, he's never been that type of dude ever.
Nah, I triple down on that without even knowing him as a person. I just
Yeah.
don't think that it's that serious.
No.
Kendrick is a California native. Drake lives in Toronto, Canada. Like, not to say that he may not know people in Canada, but I don't think it's that deep to where you placing a call to Canada for
Nope.
that. Like,
Nope.
it's just not that deep.
All right.
But nonetheless, it's highly entertaining. Like I said, great for us, the fans.
Mhm.
I think great for Kendrick Lamar's trajectory as far as mainstream wise. I think, unfortunately, the only person that loses out is Drake.
Yeah. Well, Drake still doesn't. I don't think Drake loses. I think Drake is Drake. He's not going to lose anything. I think what comes down to it is he loses
Perception wise, maybe.
perception. He loses, but he doesn't lose any value. If he can drop an album next week, he'll drop an album next week. He'll still sell. It'll probably be number one. It doesn't really. But I like what you said with Kendrick's the last one, Like Us. That's number one. If Kendrick follows up with an album, because it has so much traction, bro, that thing will sell so much. And he's about due for a new album. It's about time.
I'm sure it's one coming. I'll be surprised if it wasn't.
So, I mean, I don't know. Either artist, I think they would take advantage of this opportunity. Now, what they do with it, I don't know. But I can see Kendrick announcing a tour. I can see him doing that, or dropping an album, dropping an EP, whatever it may be. I can see either artist doing either one of those things. And then it's going to sell like hotcakes, And I think with Drake, like, there's only a certain amount of things you can kind of call Drake out for. I think everything's already been said about him. Like, yeah, he's half black, half white. Yeah, his son is, whatever his son is. Yeah, he has a ghostwriter. Everybody's known about that for long. So it's like, you can't really say more than what it need to be said unless you got new shit. And I think Kendrick capitalized it because he had new shit to say about him. It wasn't the same old, same old.
Yeah, I mean, he said some stuff that's already been said, but that pedophile shit just hit a little bit different.
That's gonna, and I love it because I don't love that like that, but I love because we're in the age of social media now. So if something is said on a rap, people are gonna go and scour the internet, scour pictures, scour this, and bring it up, and it's like, oh snap, there's evidence.
Yeah.
He's doing a concert, and he bringing up a 17-year-old girl. Oh my god. Every concert, it's like 4 concerts now. We see he's bringing up like 17, 18-year-old girls. Oh my god, I don't see him bringing up a 30-year-old. So it kind of creates the dialogue, and it lets people be their own sleuths and kind of see like, oh shit, what Kendrick said, is it correct? So I like that aspect of it. Now, if Drake is into that type of stuff, I hope he faces punishment for it. You know what I mean? Because he's still part of that Hollywood music industry type of lifestyle. And this is all allegedly, but it is what it is.
But yeah, nah, I mean that's all I got for it. Did you have anything else on it?
No, that's it, bro. That was a good take on that.
Where I mean, okay. So any final thoughts? Do you want to do the football thing or
We can do the football. We can do the football thing. Because I just pulled up the draft picks for the Cowboys. I didn't even look into it because I thought it was just nonsense, but I did pull them up. And I can go first if you want me to, bro.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with the Cowboys, everybody knows I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Some years I'm with them, some years I hate them. But this draft didn't really, for me, it didn't kind of. It was not a lot of like, oh my god, we got the. I think the Cowboys, the one player they didn't draft that they needed was a running back. Number one, you don't have a running game, but so you don't draft a running back. So it's kind of like, okay. So what did they do instead of drafting a running back? They re-sign Ezekiel Elliott, who they ended up trading or releasing to the Patriots, and I don't even know how that even. Why would you even do that? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I think with the Cowboys, like, if you know cap space, if you know how much money they have, they don't have a lot of cap space to do a lot of miracles and do a lot of great things. They really can't capitalize when you don't have money. With signing Dak, signing all these individuals, giving Tony Pollard a contract, all these other things, kind of left them, with no money to play with. So if you don't have no money to play with, you're either going to get scrubs or you're going to try to get old veterans to come in and make a difference. Now, Ezekiel Elliott's about 27, 28. Can he get us 1,000 yards at least 1,000, 900 to 1,000, maybe 10, 12 touchdowns running, maybe 6 passing touchdowns. I don't know how they're going to utilize him. He's not fast. That's number one. He's not that big. That's number two. He's not a big guy. So I don't even know why you even pick him up. Now, I'll go through who they picked up in the draft, right? And I'll see if that even makes sense, right? So they picked up Tyler Gautin from Oklahoma. He's a former defensive end, 39th ranked player on Pro Football Focus. He didn't allow any sacks in 355 pass block reps this season, but he only earned a 59 on Pro Football Focus. So he's a tackle. So they picked up a tackle, which is great because their line is pretty much diminishing in front of their eyes. All the people that were great, Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, Tyrone Smith, all those guys are leaving or they're injured. So you kind of want to refresh that line a little bit, get some young talent in there and see if they're going to make a difference. Now I'm hoping, because what the Cowboys did years ago to get that amazing line, they drafted a lot of first round, second rounders. They were linemen. They focused on a line. They got the people they needed. They put the pieces together. Now, why they didn't win a championship with that line, we all know the story as to why. We're not even going to debate that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So second, they picked up Marshawn Nealon out of Western Michigan. Cowboys recover some defense line depth. He is a natural run defender who improved as a pass rusher as his career progressed over the past 2 seasons. He posted on the 88 overall on Pro Football Focus run defense grade, which is the best among football school edge defenders who played at least 300 run defensive snaps at the span. So they picked up an edge rusher, which they probably need because, with the loss of, 2 seasons ago, they lost Randy Gregory. They can never fill that void. You need somebody to come off that edge that can kind of complement Micah Parsons because they like to double him a lot. He doesn't really get that off the edge type of sack that he was in his rookie season. So you kind of need somebody to complement him a little bit. Then you got Cooper Beebe, Kansas State. Cowboys continue to address their offensive line, so they grabbed another lineman, which is great. You need another lineman. Then you have their third pick, Marcis LaFou. Marcis LaFou. LaFou plays with the competitiveness and violence and lends itself to some tackling and inconsistencies. He's also a bit slow, a bit of a slower processor, but when he's able to read and trigger, he can make a splash and play. So this is a linebacker. So this is great because we just got rid of Van Der Esch, so we kind of need somebody to fill that hole with the linebacker core. We need some new blood in there. Our linebacker core consisted of guys from Penn State, Van Der Esch, Sean Lee at a point in time. We need some new blood in there. We need some new individuals in there, that we can kind of rely on. Kalen Carson out of Wake Forest, cornerback. Like many who play under Coach Dave Clausen, Carson is a physical prospect. He earned an impressive 83.4 run defense grade. Ranking 33rd among football cornerback. Carson will fit blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so this is good because Trevon Diggs, he can complement Deron Bland. Kind of get him in there, see what he can do to kind of assist with our lackluster defense. And then next you have wide receiver. Hold on. Flournoy offers solid production, averaging 2.67 yards per route over the past 2 seasons. His best attribute is his hands, as he dropped just 3.2%. So you got Flournoy, receiver we picked up. I think that's great. I think the Cowboys never really lacked in the receiving core depth. I think their receiving core has always been pretty good. But I think it's always good to bring in some fresh blood in there. And I think it kind of relies on Dak. And I think if they can make the line better, give them some more time, then I think they can kind of play really well with each other. But it's just he just holds the ball too long, gets sacked, and tries to make things out of nothing, and just fucks everything up. All right, so another tackle, as I told you, they're really trying to fill that offensive line. You got, when you turn on Nathan Thomas's tape, expect a more running game. Although he struggled in pass protection in each of the past 2 seasons, Thomas shows off his athleticism on run concepts, ranks about 76.1 on Pro Football Focus, 18th among football schools offensive tackles. And lastly, we have Rodgers out of Auburn. He was better in 2022 when he earned 70.9 Pro Football Focus grade. He was better against the run than as a pass rusher last season. Recorded a 65.3 Pro Football Focus run. So he's a defensive lineman. So I think that's who we got. I think, I mean, the only thing I can say about these draft picks, I like the fact that they got linemen. That's a positive. Some linebackers, that's a positive. But I think they missed the ball because they didn't draft a running back. I think that was something that was lacking last year, the run game, and I think they should have went and procured that instead of re-signing Ezekiel Elliott to a year or 2 year veteran minimum contract, which with a guy that's declining in production. You don't 27, 28, 29 years old as a running back, you don't improve. Like, that's impossible unless you're Adrian Peterson. You don't improve at that age. You decrease, and you're gonna probably be averaging 3 to 3 yards or 2.5 yards per carry, probably even less than that, depending upon how they utilize him. Like, he's not a freaking big back. So that's my thing. But go ahead, your Eagles had a stunning draft class. But go ahead, I'll let you go ahead and rock.
Nah, I mean, the Eagles just have had a pretty awesome. I mean, not awesome. That's the thing. I don't like to be the off-season champs. I'd rather be the champs in February than the champs in April and May. But nonetheless, I mean, the way the draft fell for the Eagles and the way Howie Roseman kind of does his thing, we came away with a pretty good haul. I'm not going to go through all the player evaluations, but so in the first round, we drafted Quinyon Mitchell. On most boards, was projected as the top cornerback in the draft. But because of the way the draft fell, he fell to us at 22. Second round, we drafted Cooper DeJean, another cornerback out of Iowa.
Y'all need
Um,
that.
uh, pretty much projected to. I mean, he can play all over the place with his projections. Quinion is projected as more of an outside corner, whereas Cooper Cooper could play all over. Like I said, Cooper could play in the slot. Cooper could play at safety. He can play outside, so um, he'll probably get moved all over the place. He also returned punts in college, so he offers value on special teams as well. Then in the third round, we drafted Jalix Hunt out of Houston Christian, uh, edge rusher, linebacker, projected as a project, but a freak athlete supposedly. I think he started his career as a safety and end up moving up to edge. So like
Mm.
the dude's an athlete for sure. Project, but like projects pretty well once he develops. Fourth round, Eagles drafted Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson. Um, multi-purpose back. We obviously signed Saquon Barkley this offseason, so
Yeah.
um, he's going to be the bell cow, but he does have injury history. He would be irresponsible not to bring that up. So
Wait,
drafting
hold on, bro. Sorry. Who was that other running back that y'all had that was real nice? I forget his name. Oh,
which
damn.
one?
Like the one y'all had last season.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. So he's losing his starting job to Saquon.
He signed with the Bears.
Oh, y'all let him go?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. He was on a 1-year deal when we got him.
Oh, damn, bro. He was a good addition to y'all, man.
The hopes is that Saquon is that and then some. So I
Yeah.
feel you, but
Yeah, he was nice. That read option with him was dangerous. Him and Jalen back there, that was dangerous, bro.
hey,
Yeah, I
just
didn't know he was
just
only
some.
1 year. I thought he was a rookie. I didn't know y'all had him on a 1 year contract.
Nah, he was on his last year of his rookie deal.
Damn. All
He
right, go
got
ahead.
cashed
After
out
10
by
years.
the Bears. Like I said, just imagine that same read option with that boy Saquon, man. He gonna catch a few bodies for
Yeah.
sure.
If he can stay healthy, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, relax. He'll be fine because he gonna be running behind a better offensive line. He gonna be playing with a better quarterback and way better skill position players. He ain't gonna have to carry the whole load, man. He has some nice holes to run through. Just
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
I mean, depending on how much workload y'all give him.
we're gonna
Y'all
give him a nice load. He getting a nice little bit of
20
money.
to 25 carries a game. I think he'll probably be really well.
Yeah, and I think he'll get that easy. But like I said, we drafted Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson in the fourth round. Good multi-purpose back. Good strong hard runner. Also pretty good hands as well. So I like that pick. Fifth round we drafted wide receiver Anais Smith out of Texas A&M. I really like that pick. Like, but I don't want to get into that to all of that.
Mhm.
Um, he was a receiver, then he got switched to running back, and then he got moved back to receiver. So when you
Mm.
watch him run, when you watch him catch the ball and run after the catch, he looks like a running back.
Ooh.
Um, fifth round, we also drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the son of obviously Eagles great Jeremiah Trotter.
Right.
Uh, fifth round, we also drafted Trevor Keegan, guard out of Michigan. Um, national champion Michigan. Sixth round, we drafted wide receiver Johnny Wilson out of Florida State. He is 6'7", 231 pounds.
Big boy.
Yeah. And with the last pick, the Eagles drafted in the sixth round Dylan McMahon, guard out of North Carolina State. So, pretty good haul. We got some offensive line depth, which is something that the Eagles pride themselves on. We got some receiver depth. Like I said, I like the Anais Smith pick a lot from Texas A&M. I think he's going to be a good third receiver, a good third option for the Eagles behind Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And even Dallas Goedert, if you want to call him the fourth option. So, really, really like that pick. Really like the Will Shipley pick, for running back depth because, like I said, with Saquon's injury history, having a running back that can do a lot of different things is going to be important for the Eagles. I like the entire draft, man. Not to be biased or anything like that, but um, the first two picks are home run picks to me. You got two starters with the first two picks. You got a projected starter after he gets some coaching with Jalix Hunt, or at least if not a starter, a good depth edge rusher with Jalix Hunt. Good depth at running back, like I said. So yeah, no, I walked away from the draft as a fan, definitely satisfied with how we maneuvered. He also got some capital for next year's draft as well, so you can count on Howie to, acquire picks, move around the draft board, make a bunch of deals, and be calculated in his picks. He might not get them all right all the time, but there's usually a method to the madness, and we address some position of needs as well. So I think everybody knew that our our biggest, or one of our biggest, if not the biggest weakness for the Eagles was our secondary last year. Not even just last year, for the past few years, truth be told, like we've been getting torched in the secondary, for whatever the case may be. So um, to get two of the top projected corners in the entire draft and your first two picks, uh, to me is a home run, no matter what gets done with the later picks. But even in the later picks, you got good depth and you got some guys that should be able to contribute soon, if not immediately. So yeah, I think like I said, I hate being the off season champs. Like I hate being the champs in May, and the champ in April. But you know, free agency, the draft. I think that Howie has tried. I mean, everything, man. Like re-signing AJ, Devontae, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, like getting your core locked up for the foreseeable future, and adding more talent to that, man. I think is yeah, I think we're having a good off season,
Yeah,
to say the least.
I think you guys are probably one of the more polished in the teams when it came to like how y'all selected your draft class, and I think hopefully that translates for you guys in the season. I mean, like you said, you rather be winners in April than in February than be a winner than be winners in May, June, May, and July and August. So I don't know. I think we'll see what happens. I can't wait for the season. I really don't care for preseason. I'm waiting for the regular season, so I can't wait until September when that first game happens and to see what our teams are able to do in the NFC East, NFC least.
Hmm. Yeah, nah, for sure. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, I'm fiending.
Shit. Any last words?
Nah, that's it, brother. That was a hell of an episode. Yeah, that's it. I ain't got no last words, my guy.
We're like you said, hell of an episode. I can't remember what number we on now, but hell, if we here
19, man. Almost 20. Almost 20. I think we're on like
episode 19.
19.
We're episode 19 of the Who Asked Y'all To podcast. Your brothers is here. Appreciate all of the support. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, man. Check us out. We appreciate y'all. We out.
Peace.